And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avantes, and as always, I'm joined by my co host, Zeroshio.
I'd ask you what is up, gang, but I know what's up. We're all waiting for Mercenaries.
At the time of this recording, we are like 60 hours away,
Oh,
maybe a little
yeah,
less.
yeah, about that.
Let's see, 48 hours from now will be 10 o'clock on Monday night. And then
About 12
another
hours, a little more than that.
12 will be 10 a.m. And then another 3. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're about
Close,
63
62,
hours away.
63, yeah. I am super excited. My week, Hearthstone, I really haven't done much. I've been making sure to keep my quests down so that when we do get mercenaries and I get more quests, I can have room for them. Uh, I've had some friends visiting this weekend, so spending a lot of time with them, playing a lot of New World.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I've just been doing everything I can to theorize about mercenaries, watch people's contents on mercenaries, joining mercenary discords, and I'm starting to see some major hype in the community.
So, huge shout out to Pasca for this awesome Mercenaries Discord.
Yeah, HS Mercenaries.
Yeah, it is absolutely huge. And I mean, every time I look, it seems like 50 more people have joined. And the conversations in there have been really good. People talking ideas and theory crafting. It's an awesome place to be.
Yeah, and there's actually a channel that it has specific rules where you have to format a specific way, and you basically break down a six-man team for mercenaries that you're theory crafting. And just in the last 48 hours, there has been like six different mercenaries metas, and the game's not even out yet.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, you'll have somebody post a team and somebody be like, "That's old meta." It's like, wait, old meta? We don't even have the first meta yet. No, it's I say that jokingly,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of really good theory crafting. Great minds have gone into all of the kits that they can find and break them down. And most of these kits have been data mined, or there's sources like out of dot cards that has these. We're not going to go into all 52 characters
Right.
and all that stuff. Not this week. We're only going to go over the starting gate that you're going to get for free,
Mm-hmm.
and we are going to touch on the three characters from the bundles. Other than that, we're going to save a lot of the deep diving for compositions until next week in the future episodes. So we're not
Yeah.
going to have a play portion this week. We're just going to go into these new these starting gate characters and the three bundle characters, and give some theory crafting just from initial thoughts on what type of characters you're going to look for when you start opening your packs.
Yeah, now yes, and these 8 are the 8 you're going to be given
Yes.
just for completing the tutorial in
Yeah. So
Mercenaries.
ultimately, you're going to get enough characters to have a starting team and two extras to rotate in and out for
And
bounties.
that's if you
Uh,
open no packs at all.
that's no packs, no extra rewards, anything. It's
Right.
just the starting 8 characters you're going to get. So everybody, just for doing the tutorial, is going to be able to enjoy the mercenaries content, and we're going to help you know which of those characters you might want to gravitate towards or focus on. When you finish the tutorial.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be, as Rosha said, that's going to be the majority of our show today. So if you are listening via our audio show, or if you are watching us on heropowerhs.com or on youtube.com/ecmmogamers, we will have some images so you can follow along. We will do our best to describe everything. And what do you say we jump right into it, Zeroshio?
Yeah, that's just I'm so excited. I want to talk so much Mercenaries, and a lot of it is going to involve getting our hands on the game mode.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
at
Well,
least for now, we can get an idea of these first starting
let me
characters.
just say that in anticipation of Mercenaries, I've been playing a lot of Battlegrounds,
Oh, really?
and I've had three first places this week, all dragons, and I attribute it
Wow.
100% to me giving my Twitch Prime sub to Kibler and joining the Dragon Army. That is 100% why I am winning Battlegrounds with dragons. Not that they are OP.
Yeah, I'm excited. And before we get into these starting characters and deep diving, I do want to kind of mention the negativity that's going on with Mercenaries. And we were talking about this in the HS Mercenaries Discord that Pasca invited us to. I think you can check out Pasca on Twitter. He should have a link to it. But most of the people in that Discord are positive about this game mode. Pretty much I've seen no negativity so far. And for the most part, it seems like the negativity is from people who haven't taken the time to, you know, try to like Mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought up an interesting conversation of, do we think Mercenaries is going to bring outside players that don't play Hearthstone into the game mode? And I kind of think it might. I think what's going to really be pivotal is the first 48 hours. You're going to have streamers like Regis Kilbin and Crip and Trump and Slissa. They're going to do their due diligence and create content for Mercenaries. You're going to have other Hearthstone streamers probably try to make the content, and if it takes off like a rocket and the community really likes that content that they're creating, they're going to keep creating more, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. And if there's a lot of views on these mercenary videos, then you're going to have outside mobile game streamers like maybe Mobile Gamer 365 who does Marvel Strike Force, or a few other mobile game streamers might try to get into Mercenaries because they see the benefit in it.
So
And
let's talk about that for a minute, because
yeah,
there was a big debate about that on Twitter this week.
there was.
Frodan commented that he had just gotten to play Mercenaries through an early access event, and Frodan's exact comment was, Mercenaries is a really fun mode, but I think it will make for poor and boring content creation.
Interesting.
And because it's a lot of hopping in, popping out, and there was one person, and a lot of the content creators, a lot of the Hearthstone content creators chimed in saying they agreed, except for one, and that was Regis Kilbin. And Regis
Yeah.
said, I think the thing that will make Mercenaries enjoyable on stream is exclusively the PvP aspect of it.
Yes.
Meaning the
I would
rest
agree.
of Mercenaries might be a little boring to watch, but PvP could be a lot of fun.
But at the same time, streamers that stream standard ladder or wild ladder or battlegrounds, that's PvP.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that kind of response from Regis does not surprise me. And I think I said in the Discord that I think what's going to matter is if the content creators can see a profit out of this, then other content creators from other mobile games are going to see that too and might get into it. And I'll tell you now, if somebody like Mobile Gamer 365 even does one video on Mercenaries, you're probably going to get, 1,000 to 5,000 new downloads of Hearthstone just so they because
OMG, it would be really cool if he did.
so funny. But no, I'm just saying, if gone are the days of gamers just blindly trying a game. People, gamers don't do that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
when you and I were in high school, we hear about a new title coming out. Nobody knows the title. Sometimes the game development company might not even be know. Well, we're going to try it because it's new. People don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have their popular streamer or content creator tell them this is going to be worth your time before they even do it. And if their popular streamer is not backing it, then they're probably not going to play it.
That's true. That's true.
So I really think that Mercenaries has the potential to take off like a rocket. We'll just have to see. And I think it has the potential to bring in outside player bases because it does have a lot of pull in the hero collector, hero battler style game, like a Raid Shadow Legends, Marvel Strike Force, things like that, which is what I'm excited about, and I know you're excited about. So we're just gonna have to see. There's gonna be a lot to talk about over the next couple weeks, and we can't wait to do it.
That's right. Okay, so let's jump right into this, and let's get started talking about these heroes. So we're going to start this week with the 8 free heroes that you get just for completing the tutorial. So first up, we're going to talk about Rosara. Now, if you guys remember in past episodes, we've said there are 3 colors. You're going to have green, which denotes fighters. You're going to have blue, which denotes casters. And you're going to have red, which promotes protectors, or denotes protectors. So, as you can see here, Rosara is a fighter from the green banner at the bottom of her portrait. So, each character gets 3 abilities and equipment. Now, you'll start with your first ability. You'll get your second ability at level 5, and your third ability when your hero reaches level 15. So, Rosara's first ability is called Tribal Warfare. 7 ability points. Attack an enemy if your party has another orc. Gain +1 attack first.
Yeah, the 7 is the speed, so that's how fast it's going to go.
So it's a slow ability.
Yes, but it says attack an enemy if your party has another orc, gain +1 attack first. So the reason it's important for it to be slow is if your other orc attacks and dies before this, then that orc won't count. So you might want to make sure that orc is protected, or there's taunts involved. I do like that there's a synergistic ability as the first ability, because we're given a total of 3 orcs out of this first set. So you can have a full
out of
3
8
roster.
starting characters, 3 of them are orcs.
So that's a good synergy, and we'll talk more about the synergies a little bit later.
Okay. Her next ability is Offensive Rally. So this is a 2 speed, which means it will happen pretty quickly in the attack order. Whenever a friendly character attacks this turn, give it +1, +2.
Yeah, note that this is not an attack.
Right. This
so
is
it's not going to get any
passive
bonus.
ability, right?
So basically, you're choosing not to have an offensive attack with Rosara to give your other mercenaries attack when they attack.
A +1, +2 when they attack this turn.
Yes, and it happens quickly. It's a 2-turn or a 2 speed. However, if the other mercenary is a 1 speed and acts before this goes off, they won't get the attack. So you want to make sure the other abilities that turn are slower than this.
Right.
And it does have a 1-turn cooldown, so you can't do it every single turn.
Right. And again, this is an ability you get when Rosara reaches level 5.
Yes.
And then when Rosara reaches level 15, you get her third and final ability, Surprise Attack, which is a 6 speed. Attack an enemy. If this acts first, gain immune while attacking this turn. So if surprise attack is the first ability to go off in the turn, Rosara becomes immune for the turn.
So the problem with this ability is it's not very fast. It's a 6 speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to need other speed modifiers or be facing a very slow team. So either the rest of your team has to have things that slow the enemy, or they are slower, or speed up Rosara. One of those options need to happen.
Okay. Now let's talk about her equipment, because each character has equipment that they can that you can use that modifies their abilities or stats in some way. So the first piece of equipment for Rosara is the Frost Wolf Talisman. Tribal Warfare, which is her first ability, gives an additional +1 attack while you have that talisman equipped.
Yes, and it's important to note that when you're setting up your party, you're going to be setting up what 6 mercenaries are in the party. Then you're also going to be adjusting what equipment those mercenaries have. So you only get to pick one of these pieces of equipment.
Right. It's very strategic on how you build out your characters as well as how you build out your teams.
Which I like, because in, say, PvP, if the meta becomes 6 specific characters, you can kind of tech out that matchup by adjusting the equipment to maybe handle the mirror match or handle a specific counter that normally counters the more common equipment setup or things like that, which makes team development much more diverse than just picking a specific 6 characters to bring in.
Right.
It's 6 characters with a variation of 6 different equipment pieces.
Yeah. And then Rosara's second piece of equipment is the Helm of Inspiration. Offensive Rally gives an additional +1/+2. So instead of +1/+2 with Helm of Inspiration, it'll give +2/+4.
Yeah, and that +2/+4 may be what's needed to survive. So because it's whenever a friendly character attacks, not after a friendly character attacks. So that means a friendly character is going to attack, gain 4 health, and it might be what keeps it alive and allows it to kill the opposing mercenary.
And then her last piece of equipment is called Ancestral Armor. It's passive +5 health.
Yeah, simple. I think this might be one. Any of the passive equipment is going to be pretty strong because you don't have to meet specific qualifications.
Right. Now, it's also important to point out that these are all base abilities and equipment that will scale as you level them up. Because not only are you leveling the hero, which affects their attack and their health stats, you can also spend coins to level up the abilities. So you go you start at Tribal Warfare 1, you can level it to Tribal Warfare 2, Tribal Warfare 3. I think it goes all the way up to 5 currently.
Yes.
And then equipment is the same way. You can level up your equipment, which increases the bonuses you get. So it's insanely customizable.
Yeah, that's what I really like about Mercenaries so far is the customization. Now, if anybody out there is kind of curious on which equipment should I prioritize first and things like that, we're not going to have those answers right now.
No.
So feel free to tweet at us at HeroPower_cast or send us an email at HeroPowerPodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be happy to look into that and give an answer on the show. Also, if you go to HeroPowerHS.com, there's a contact us link that you can send an email from there.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about Rosara. We've talked about her abilities and her equipment. So this is kind of the format we're going to go with going forward for these remaining other 10 characters.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving along, we have Cariel Rome. So Cariel base stats, she's a 310, and she is a protector, as you can see from the red banner across the bottom. Her first starting ability is called Seal of Light. So it is a 4-speed with a 1-turn cooldown. And it says choose a character, give it +2 attack, and restore 5 health. So +2 attack, and she heals for 5.
Yeah, and this is a 4-speed, which isn't really slow, but it's not very fast either. And it's kind of good that it's not fast, because if you have, say, another protector that attacks with a fast attack, or even a fighter that has decent health with a fast attack, they're going to get hurt by the damage from the attack. Well, Cariel can then heal them.
Right. So situation. You have let's say a fighter with a 3-speed attack. At the start of the turn, that fighter's going to be full health, but you're still going to target it with Cariel, because you know it's going to attack first, take damage, and then when her turn finally comes, she's going to heal that damage back. Yes, you won't get the bonus of the +2 attack, but your fighter will be back to full health.
Well, it will, because it's not +2 attack for a turn. They'll have the +2 attack next turn.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't think that's
the way I'm reading it. Choose a character, give it +2 attack, and restore 5 health. Doesn't say this turn. It's
that's true.
Adding attack to it. So, because as far as I've seen with the demonstrations we've seen from videos, whenever you give something +2 attack, it continues to keep that. Or whenever you give it attack, it keeps that for the remainder of that fight.
Okay, that's good to know.
So it might not get it from that turn's attack, but it will for the future turns.
Okay.
And this has a 1-turn cooldown, so you can't spam this.
Right. Next up, at level 5, she gets Crusader's Blow. This is a 6-speed ability. Attack an enemy, death blow, restore 10 health to this merc. So if she lands a killing blow on a minion or on an enemy, she heals herself for 10.
Yeah, and that's what death blow means. It's a if the attack if the attack from the ability that has death blow kills that target, then the death blow effect happens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. I like how this is worded, because it says restore 10 health to this merc.
Yes.
Because we're not going to talk about it this week, but we have some data mined information on some other characters, and Blink Fox is in that list. And Blink Fox has the ability to take other mercenaries' abilities for a turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that kind of versatility is already in the game. That kind of broadens how much it can do in the future.
Yeah. All right, and then her level 15 ability is Taunt. So it's a 1-speed, which means it's going to happen at almost the very beginning of combat. Yes. And it says restore 4 health to this merc and gain Taunt for 1 turn. So basically, at the beginning of the round, she'll restore 4 health, and then all enemy mercs will have to attack her that turn.
Yes. But this is, strong.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. So, all right, let's talk about her equipment. So, her starting piece of equipment is the Tome of Judgment, which basically says Seal of Light gives an additional +1 attack. So, you guys, we talked about Seal of Light gives +2 attack. With Tome of Judgment equipped, it now gives +3 attack.
Yep.
Her secondary piece of equipment is Tome of Light. It's a passive ability. While this merc has Taunt, it has +2 attack. So that pairs well with her level 15 ability, which is the taunt that we just talked about.
Yeah, and essentially the level 15 ability taunt uh, doesn't have a cooldown.
No.
So theoretically, you could use taunt every single turn, and every turn, whenever they attack, they're going to take Cariel's attack damage,
+2.
as which would be +2. So at the base, that's 5 damage every time they attack her.
Yeah.
So unless she's being attacked by casters that do bonus damage,
That do
it's
double
probably going to
damage.
be
Yeah.
double damage. It's probably going to be a net positive for the trades. Like if the opposing team has a lot of fighters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and her last piece of equipment is the Hammer of Dawn. So this says Crusader's Blow also restores health to adjacent mercs. So if you have the Hammer of Dawn equipped and you deal a death blow with Crusader's Blow, it's going to restore 10 health to Cariel and the adjacent mercs.
Yeah, so some of my favorite features in a lot of your the hero battlers like Marvel Strike Force and not so much Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, but a few of those other ones is positioning. And Hearthstone has always done really good with factoring in positioning. So
look at the chess event that we have every year.
Exactly. So the positioning, which is kind of weird because in a lot of your other hero battlers, you don't want your taunts in the middle because if there is splash damage, they hit next to the taunts. So you usually want your taunts on the end. But in this case with Cariel, you want her in the middle because if she gets a death blow, then she's going to heal next to her.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be kind of, are you facing an opposing team that also has attack adjacent minions or anything like that? If so, it may be a detriment to put her in the middle. But if not, then you want to put her in the middle.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm imagining a scenario where you'd put her on an end, a fodder in the middle, and your caster on the far left, and her taunting, forcing all the damage that way, and healing the fodder, and then the caster just bombarding, just blowing them away from a distance. Yeah.
You can centralize the healing that way.
Yeah.
Again, that is another variation of the way you build your team and play it. Like I said, I keep bringing it up because it's relevant to this game style. Marvel Strike Force, you might have two identical teams, but depending on their positioning, one team might win over another just because the positioning's done better.
Absolutely.
And you might have one positioning for defense, one positioning for offense. So it's very, and again, most of the time you're facing AI controlled versions of opponents' teams in that game, where in this PvP mode, you're going to be doing it real time. So obviously the play style is going to be different, but those are factors to look into when you start trying to min-max your play style and your team positioning.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we have Cornelius Rome. He is also a protector, as you can tell from the red banner. He is a 3 attack, 13 health. And his starting ability is Blessing of Sacrifice. So this is a 6 speed ability with a 1 turn cooldown. And it reads, restore 2 health to another friendly merc. Whenever it takes damage this turn, this merc takes that damage instead. So basically, you play Blessing of Sacrifice, heal a friendly merc for 2. When that merc then attacks and takes damage, Cornelius takes the damage instead of that fighter or that caster.
Yeah, and I don't know how the bonuses go. If it would do bonus damage to that fighter, does it then no longer do bonus damage to Cornelius? We'll have to see how that works.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Does it negate the bonus damage, or does he still take the bonus damage? So could a fighter do bonus damage to Cornelius, even though he's a protector? These are things we're going to have to figure out. Historically, any of this character takes damage instead of another character hasn't done good in Hearthstone, but it has done good in other hero battler games. So we're just going to have to see how it plays out. I don't think this is going to be a good ability, though.
Okay. His level 5 ability is Martial Mastery. So this is an 8 speed. This is the slowest ability we've seen so far. It is attack an enemy. If it's a fighter, gain +2 health first. So fighters are strong against protectors. Because, is that right?
No.
That's not.
Protectors are strong against fighters. Protectors do double damage when
Protectors do
attacking
double
a fighter.
damage when attacking. So, if attacking a fighter, he gains +2 additional health first.
Yeah, health, not attack.
Right, health.
So, again, this is another ability. So far out of all the starting characters, Cornelius Rome's been the least impressive to me. Because you're getting bonus health while attacking something you're doing bonus damage to. I'm not convinced this is going to be good.
Okay. And then Cornelius's level 15 ability is Hold the Front. So this is a 4 speed. It's his fastest ability with a 1 turn cooldown. Gain taunt for 2 turns. Restore 4 health to adjacent characters. Now, I think it's important to note here 2 things about this ability. The taunt lasts 2 turns, and it has a 1 turn cooldown, so you can effectively have it up all the time.
Yes.
And it states restore 4 health to adjacent characters, not adjacent mercs.
Yeah, and I think the reason they use mercenaries, characters over mercenaries, is because we did see some footage where some mercenaries will summon minions, will summon other characters to fight alongside of them. So I think that's why a lot of your abilities might say characters instead of mercenaries, because it's basically any of the characters, even if it's a summon.
Okay. All right.
So if it says mercenary specifically, then if there's a summon minion, it may not affect those summons.
Okay.
So if it said something like attack a random mercenary, then it's not going to attack those summons and negate that ability, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And now let's talk about Cornelius's equipment. So unlike the previous characters, Cornelius is only showing 2 pieces of equipment.
Yeah, I think this is just because they haven't, at the time of this press reveal, they did not give all of the abilities out yet. I know there's been some that's been data mined, but those aren't official, so we're not going to go into those.
Okay.
So these are just the 2 that's been officially revealed.
His first piece of equipment is called Striking Gauntlets. And it says Martial Mastery gives 1 more health. Not feeling that one.
Yeah, I'm just, other than Hold the Front, I'm not impressed by Cornelius Rome, to be honest.
Okay. Well, his second piece of equipment, Band of Enlightenment, actually affects Hold the Front. It says Hold the Front restores 1 more health. So
that's
instead of 4,
big.
It's now restoring 5.
It's pretty big because we're seeing a lot of the starting mercenaries. This is base level. Most of them have 1, 2, and 3 attack, and this is a total of 5 health instead of 4. And even some of the ones we're going to talk about from the bundle later, the highest is 4 attack on a base character. That's before it's leveled up.
So overall, the level 1 and level 5 abilities for Cornelius Rome are not all that impressive to you, as you're stating. Do you feel like Cornelius becomes more useful at 15 once you have acquired Hold the Front, which, as we said, effectively can be used every turn, with Band of Enlightenment? Could he be a character you just have to grind level to 15 to be useful?
Initially, from what I'm seeing, I think that's an accurate statement. Also, I think he might be niche where there may be some characters that come out with like specific human synergies or maybe something with Silverhand synergy type stuff. We don't know all the synergies that he may slot into until you get another character. Or you may need a specific character that can taunt and maybe the best character that'd be for that team is not available, so you just put Cornelius in there until you unlock them.
Okay. All
So he
right.
might be kind of a filler character, but ultimately I'm not impressed by his kit.
Okay. Let's talk about a legendary that everybody's getting, and that is Grommash Hellscream.
Yes, let's talk about Grommash.
So Grommash is also a protector. He is a 3 attack, 15 health. And again, some pretty slow abilities. We're going to start with his level 1 ability, Blood Fervor. It's an 8 speed. Attack an enemy. Death Blow. Gain +5 attack. So actually, this being slow may be good. Because if your other two mercs attack first, that gives you a higher percentage chance at a death blow.
Also, your opponents may summon minions that, say, have Divine Shield Rush, and they rush into one of your other minions or run into Grommash, and then Grommash can attack that summon. And from what we saw from the footage, a lot of the summons have lower health, might kill that summon off, and then get the +5 attack to then be able to finish off everything else or anything else attacks into it.
Okay. All right.
I like this ability a lot.
Okay. His level 5 ability is Battle Fury. So this is a 9 speed with a 1 turn cooldown. Gain +2 attack. Attack an enemy and one of its neighbors.
Yeah, so positioning again matters. So if you target a minion or a character on the end, it's pretty much guaranteed to attack the one character next to it. So if you're wanting to isolate that damage.
So let's say, you're in a scenario where you start combat, turn 1, you use Blood Fervor and kill off a summon. He gets +5 attack. So now he's like an 8 attack, and then on turn 2 you use Battle Fury, and now he has the possibility to hit 2 characters for 8 damage.
Yeah.
Actually, no. At that point, it would be like 10 damage because Blood Fury gives +2 attack. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he can just get big and hit hard.
Yeah, sure can.
All right, and then his level 15 ability is Staggering Slam. So this is a 4 speed. This is his fastest ability. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. The next ability is 2 speed slower.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about with Rosara. And if you could have a team that has speed manipulation, whether it be speeding up your team or a specific character or slowing down the enemies, then it might make Rosara's abilities a little better. And furthermore, Grommash is also an orc and has synergies with Rosara's first ability. So right off the bat, I'm thinking at least Rosara and Grommash, and we'll be. Did we go over Samuro yet?
No, he's coming up.
Okay, we'll be talking about Samuro. That might be kind of a starting 3, and then you have some support on the bench. That right off the gate, you can have a good synergistic team.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Grommash's equipment. His first piece of equipment is the Halting Sash. Staggering Slam, which is his level 15 ability, deals an additional 2 damage. So instead of 2 damage and then slowing the enemy's next ability by 2, it now does 4 damage and slows the next ability by 2.
Yeah, and it's also important to note on Staggering Slam, its next ability is 2 speed slower, meaning that if it hadn't attacked that turn, then that it slows down that turn. But if they'd already used their ability, it slows down for the next turn.
Yeah. All right. Grommash's next piece of equipment is something you might have heard of. Gore Howl. Blood Fervor also restores 5 health on Death Blow. So if you have Gore Howl equipped, Blood Fervor will on a Death Blow will gain 5 attack, and now will also restore 5 health.
Yeah, I think Gore Howl is going to be the piece of equipment that's probably the best for Grommash out the gate.
Okay.
Because it makes that level one ability is so strong.
Yeah. And then his last piece of equipment is the Bloodthirst Amulet. Battle Fury gives +1 attack more.
Yeah, which essentially is +2 attack because you're also attacking one of its neighbors.
That's very true. Very true.
So it equates to 2 extra damage. This is a strong one as well. Yeah. I still think Gore Howl's better, but it's no slouch.
Okay. Moving on, we have our first caster. And you can tell by the blue banner on this. This is Milhouse Manastorm. Milhouse is a 1 attack, 8 health. So he's a caster. So far, he has the lowest health of any mercenary we've looked at. His first ability at level 1 is Arcane Explosion. So
wait, before we get into that, can we talk about his character art? Because Milhouse Manastorm literally summoned a mirror image of himself just so he could steal his ice cream.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm sorry. Go on with the abilities. That to me is the greatest thing ever. I love the characterization and kind of the uniqueness Hearthstone puts into its characters.
Well, yeah, and I like that the mirror image is in the background with his hand out, just like WTF, bro.
Yeah, it's just like what just happened.
So, all right, his level 1 ability is Arcane Explosion. This is a 4 speed, deal 2 damage to all enemies. Yay, AoE damage.
Yes, AoE damage. I think we'll talk about this more when we get into some of the bundle characters. I think if you're getting any of the bundles, there are a couple of them, one specifically, that might work well with AoE specifically. Mm-hmm. And there may be just an AoE comp that we can build around.
Okay. His level 5 ability is Arcane Bolt. So this is a 6 speed, deal 4 damage, gain +1 arcane damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's strong. There's also a lot of arcane. All of his abilities are arcane, and there's other characters that are arcane.
The +1 arcane damage from this ability, would that affect his next Arcane Explosion, making it do 3 instead of 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I understood how that worked.
And the way I'm reading it is Milhouse Manastorm gains +1 arcane damage. So it doesn't give +1 arcane damage to your other arcane. I could be wrong about this, but your other mercs that use arcane abilities should.
But any arcane ability that Milhouse uses would then have +1 damage.
Yeah, so if you could stack enough arcane bolts, and then you could weaken the enemies, and then you could do one big arcane explosion to blast them out of the water.
Okay. And his level 15 ability is Greater Arcane Missile. Shoot 3 missiles at random enemies that deal 5 damage each.
This is stupid damage. Now, this is a 2-turn cooldown. You
Yes,
can't
because
spam this.
it is such. Okay, so he's going to usually always go last with this.
Uh-huh.
And then he has to wait 2 more turns before he can do it again. But you're talking 15 points of damage.
15, which I think so far is the largest base damage out of an ability we've seen. So that's big.
Yeah.
It might just be a killing blow where you spend the first few turns just kind of AoEing, and then he just kind of cleans them up.
Yeah.
And think about if you've gotten a couple arcane bolts off before this.
Well, you don't even have to do
each?
that. Let's talk about his first piece of equipment, the arcane rod, because arcane bolt gains +1 additional arcane damage. So now if you have the arcane rod equipped, every arcane bolt's giving +2 arcane damage.
Yeah.
So if you get off 2 arcane bolts with the arcane rod, that's +4 arcane damage. Now you're looking at greater arcane missiles doing what? 27 points of damage?
Yeah, and it's also important to note that casters do double damage to protectors.
Oh god, yeah.
And say and we're not 100% sure how it works yet, but if Cornelius Rome takes the damage of another character, if the damage hits that character and it has a +1 arcane damage or additional +1, so that's +2 arcane damage from, say, the arcane bolt, and it gets hit a couple times with the greater arcane missiles, and that damage goes to Cornelius Rome instead, it should get doubled if my logic's right.
Yeah, so let's say
Cornelius just could get nuked.
Yeah, exactly. And now, again, this is part of the reason Millhouse only has 8 health, because he's a glass cannon.
Yes.
People are going to probably target your caster first because of the stupid amount of damage that they have the potential to dish out.
So maybe that's where Cornelius Rome works. He sacrifices a lot of ability because he can protect other characters like Millhouse, and Millhouse makes up that extra damage.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where you put Cornelius is with Millhouse, because you want to protect Millhouse. You don't care if your Cornelius takes a lot of damage or even dies, because you just need a little bit of time for Millhouse just to nuke the opposing team.
Yeah. And now let's talk about Millhouse's other piece of equipment, Arcane Powder, which says Arcane Explosion deals 1 more damage. Why would you use this when you have Arcane Rod, which is going to give Arcane Bolt +2 arcane damage, meaning now Arcane Explosion is going to do 4 damage to all?
So I'm looking at Millhouse's eyes. Are we sure that's Arcane Powder? Just kidding.
Math, whatever.
Arcane Powder is going to be strong. Of these two, I think Arcane Rod is probably better, but there may be a specific comp that wants that AoE damage, and Arcane Powder may be better.
That's true.
Again, I think your equipment's going to be really based on what kind of comp you're going for.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, we have our third orc of this list. This is Samuro. Samuro is a fighter, as denoted by the green banner. Starting stats are 212. His first ability is Double Strike. It is a 4-speed. Attack an enemy. If it was damaged this turn, gain +1 attack and attack it again.
So this is a fairly fast ability. So this is good to team up with another fast character that's faster than 4 speed, or since orcs inherently are slower, it's good against a fast team, because that maybe you target something that's faster than Samuro. That character attacks into something, takes damage because it attacked,
Mm-hmm.
and then Samuro attacks it and gets this bonus because it is damaged. It doesn't say it has to be damaged by one of your mercs or one of
Correct.
your characters. It just says damage, period. So it could damage itself by attacking into another character.
Yeah. His level 5 ability is Mirror Image. So this is a 9 speed, 1 turn cooldown. Choose an enemy, summon a copy of this merc that attacks it and dies at the end of the turn.
So I think we have some characters later. I don't know if it's in these list of characters, but I know definitely in the total list there are some that have abilities when characters die. And since this is summoning a character and then it dies in a turn, it should meet that qualification because it says dies.
Correct.
So you might have a kind of a death attrition type synergy where when you have characters or summons that die, then they get bonuses or bonus attack or health or healing, who knows. But this kind of meets that, so it's kind of neat. I like that. But you also have to know if your opponents have characters that get benefits off characters dying, this mirror image is dying, so it's going to meet that qualification as well. So it could be a double-edged sword.
And then Samuro's level 15 ability is Whirling Blade. So this is a 5 speed with a 1 turn cooldown. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. Gain immune this turn.
Yeah, this is kind of neat. It kind of is reminiscent of the Heroes of the Storm ability that he has. So I really like that they took this kind of Heroes of the Storm version of Samuro because there really wasn't a fleshed out version from the old Warcraft that had a lot of really cool abilities that were similar to this. So I like this. I'm sure there's some way to manipulate the speed so that he attacks first, and then all of a sudden he's immune.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about equipment. So his first piece of equipment is the Burning Blade. Passive, whenever this merc attacks, gain +1 attack.
So theoretically, when the mirror image says summon a copy of this merc, it should copy the equipment as well.
Mm-hmm.
So any copies you make should also have the +1 attack.
Yes, and the double strike, he would be able to gain +2 attack in a turn when he double strikes because he's attacking twice.
That's true.
So, and then his other piece of equipment is the Honed Blade. Whirling Blade deals 1 additional or 1 more damage. So instead of 2 damage, it would do 3 damage.
That's pretty big.
That's, yeah, especially, AoE damage, I think, is going to be big in this.
I mean, that takes the total damage against 3 mercs from 6 to 9.
Correct.
And that's not counting if they have any summons or anything like that. So
yeah. So Samuro rounds out the 3 orcs that will be available with the free characters that you get for completing the tutorial. Moving on, we have Tyrande Whisperwind. So she is a fighter, denoted by the green banner. She is a 1/9. Her first ability at level 1 is Elune's Grace. This is a 6 speed, 1 turn cooldown. Your party's next arcane ability casts twice and is permanently 1 speed faster.
Millhouse.
Oh my gosh.
If this gets procced onto greater arcane missiles and now it's faster and has the and casts twice, so instead of 15 damage and that's unmodified, it's 30 damage.
Oh my gosh.
I tell you, an arcane build is probably one of the. So there's a couple builds I want to try. I want to try the orc build. I want to try an arcane build, and then I want to try to open packs to try to get Murlocs. There's no Murlocs in the starting characters, but they've said there's going to be an ability. They actually had a kind of teaser raunchy video as well that there's going to be the ability to create a Murloc comp, and I want to eventually get the characters to unlock that comp. Who knows if I can do it that early or not? I do have quite a few packs coming.
Yeah. Okay. Second ability at level 5 is Arcane Shot. This is a 7 speed. Deal 4 damage to an enemy.
That's, I mean, solid.
It's just
and it's
straight
arcane.
up 4 damage. Yeah, it's a
So
little
it gets
slow,
modified.
so it'll happen later in the turn if she survives. But and then the level 15 ability is Arcane Salvo. This is a 5 speed. Deal 2 damage to 2 random enemies.
Yeah, it's a multi-shot.
Yeah.
And it has the same art as multi-shot. From what I'm seeing from Arcane, it's slow abilities, but big damage. So basically, they have to be able to weather that initial storm. So I don't necessarily think you can have just a full team of nothing but Arcane,
Right.
Fighters and casters. You're gonna need some kind of mitigation, taunts, healing in there somewhere. But it looks like an Arcane. Maybe you run 4 Arcane characters, and then you run a taunt, and then you run a healer. So of your 6 characters. So depending what you're facing, you kind of rotate in maybe 2 Arcanes and a taunt, or an Arcane, a healer, and a taunt, or 2 Arcanes and a healer, depending on exactly what you need for those fights and those bounties. I don't know if that type of comp would be good in a PvP scenario because of how slow it is, and I think speed is going to matter in PvP. Any of these hero collector type, hero battler type games, speed is key when it comes to PvP. So we'll just have to see where that lands. There's going to be a totally different meta for PvP than there is for the bounties.
That's right. That's right. So, all right. Her first piece of equipment is Elun's Charm. Arcane Shot deals 2 more damage.
6 damage, that's a lot.
That is a lot. And then her second piece of equipment is the Verdant Recurve. Arcane Salvo deals 1 more damage. So now you're doing 6 damage instead of 4 damage between 2.
So it's essentially 2 extra damage. So right. I think
so it's
the
3
Elun's
and 3
Charm,
instead of 2 and 2.
I think the Elun's Charm ultimately is going to be better. But the Arcane Salvo is more versatile, depending if you're wanting to go in an AoE style Arcane build or just a straight targeted AoE build. So that's really the 2 different versions you're going to want to look at there.
Okay. Next up, we have another caster. We have Zyrella. So Zyrella is a 1 attack, 7 health. She is also the last. She is free character number 8. So she
is last, but she is not least.
Absolutely. She is a caster. Her first ability is Blinding Luminance. So this is a 3 speed. Deal 2 damage to an enemy and give it -2 attack this turn. So 2 damage to an enemy, -2 attack this turn on a 3 speed. That's really good.
That's really good because especially against orc builds, you could really shut down a Samuro. If you take him down to 0 attack, well, who cares if he summons another minion? He has both those minions have 0 attack. It doesn't matter.
That's right. Her second ability at level 5 is Flash Heal. This is a 4 speed. Restore 5 health.
Solid.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
And then her level 15 ability is Atonement. This is a 9 speed, 1 turn cooldown. Deal 9 damage, +1 damage each time your party restores 20 health.
Yeah, imagine this with Cornelius Rome and Cario Rome, where they're constantly healing adjacent and healing themselves and healing others, and then all of a sudden she can atonement, which the cooldown's not bad because it gives it time to get that healing in. And this is total healing, not all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see at the bottom, it says 20 remaining. As healing happens, it's going to tick, 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 and keep ticking down to 0.
Until it says ready,
Till the damage number is going to change from 9 to 10, and then it'll go back to 20 and continue to go again.
Yeah.
So it can do it repeatedly. So far in the HS Mercenaries Discord, in the new builds category where people are putting in their theory crafted builds, Zyrella seems to be one of the most popular characters to go in every team. And it could just be because she's the known good free healer, like true healer. You have other characters that heal, but this one has targeted healing and specific synergies with healing, as well as all their abilities being holy. I haven't seen any specific holy synergies yet from any of these starting characters, so we may have another character in the packs that has holy synergies that makes his team even better. We'll have to see.
All right. Equipment. First up, we have the Radiant Wand. Blinding Luminance deals 1 more damage and gives -1 attack more. So it takes it up to a 3 damage, -3 attack.
And mind you, this is a level 1 ability, and on day 1, you're going to have a lot of people leveling up their characters. So if you do PvP early, which I don't expect a lot of people to do early, but if you do PvP early, a lot of those base characters are only going to have 2 and 3 attack. So it's going to make them 0 attack right out the gate.
So, okay, this is something I do want to mention, because in other similar character collector battler games, PvP is not available right out of the gate. Normally, you have to level up characters to a certain point before you're eligible for PvP. I wonder if there will be some sort of threshold for mercenaries where it's like,
yes,
you have to have a team of level 5s before you can do PvP or something.
Well, I don't know if those thresholds are there, but you do have to unlock, I think it's the fighting pit, which is a certain amount of gold, which means you have to get your town leveled up enough. So that's probably done purposely. By the time you get to the point where you can unlock the fighting pit, which I think this is like 100 gold or 200 gold to unlock it, to get into PvP, you probably will have naturally gotten everything you need to qualify for PvP. So by the time you get to PvP, this may not be as strong, but I still think it's going to be strong.
Yeah. Her second piece of gear is Shard of the Naru. Flash Heal restores 5 more health, but has +1 cooldown. So it goes from a 4-speed, no cooldown, restores 5 health, to a 4-speed, 1-turn cooldown, restores 10 health.
The problem with abilities like this, you get a lot of overhealing. And if you overheal with this and it has a cooldown, that's a negative effect. You get negative progression on your healing. So I think the smaller healing with no cooldown is better than the bigger healing with a cooldown. So I don't think Shard of the Naru is the way to go over Radiant Wand, at least.
Okay. And then her third piece of equipment is Robes of Purity. Atonement deals 2 more damage. So right out of the gate, Atonement does 11 damage before any bonuses from healing.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about how Millhouse had the largest amount of damage in one ability, base damage at 15 damage, where this is 11 damage with this equipment. So it's basically considered second.
But
one less cooldown.
Millhouse's 15 is spread out 5, 5, and 5. This is a full 11 to a single target.
Well, it's spread out in 3 bursts of 5. All 3 of those can technically
could go to the same target, but it's random.
If you only have one character left one opponent left alive, it would all hit the same. So
Right.
depending on the situation, this may be better. But I do think it's the second best damaging attack in the game, which is interesting because those are on casters. We're seeing like fighters have more versatile attacks, but the casters are more just large scale attacks.
I want to correct
But
something
they're
you just
smaller.
said. It's the
Huh?
second best damage out of the starting characters, not out of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Out of the starting 8 characters, on base stats alone,
Mm-hmm.
it's the second best damage out of second most damage out of an ability.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
All right, so that is all of the 8 free starting characters.
So here's my question: if you're just getting the 8 starting characters and you haven't bought any bundles, don't plan on investing a bunch of gold on day one, what kind of what 6 would you take in? Or I guess it's easier to say what 2 would you omit?
I would probably omit. Gosh, see, that's tough because you really want to take the synergy of Rosara, Grommash, and Samuro.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would probably take those 3 plus Tyrael, Zyrella, and Millhouse. So I'm probably omitting both Cariel and Cornelius.
So you're running like an orc / arcane build with Zyrella as a healer.
Yes.
And so you're omitting the roams, the
Correct.
Cornelius and
Out of just those
Cariel.
8, I'm probably omitting father and daughter.
I think I am feeling you there. I think that's probably the best way to go. There may be some merit to using Cariel over Zyrella with the orcs being so aggressive, but ultimately Zyrella has larger healing potential
Mm-hmm.
and specific pinpoint healing than Cariel does. So yeah, I think ultimately Cariel and Cornelius are going to sit the bench out of those 8.
Okay.
For me, at least.
So, we've talked about the 8 free characters you get for completing the tutorial. Let's talk about the 3 bundle characters that are available right now. And we're going to start with what seems to be everybody's favorite because the gates of hell are open, Diablo. So, Diablo is a fighter, denoted by the green. He is a 4 attack, 12 health at the start. So his first ability is Apocalypse. This is a 6 speed, 1 turn cooldown. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. It takes critical damage from all rolls this turn.
Yes. So what this means is he's going to do 2 damage to an enemy, and it's on a 6 speed, so it's not super fast. But any other damage it takes, it's like it's being hit by a critical by its opposing.
So that would be double damage.
So double damage. So that means that I mean, if they're already critical, then it doesn't do anything. So if he uses this and then Millhouse attacks a protector, it's already going to be critical. So it's nothing happens. Okay. But if Millhouse attacks a fighter, which it doesn't do critical to, or another caster, it's going to be like it was a protector. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So critical doesn't stack. It's either critical or not critical. And critical is double damage.
Okay. His level 5 ability is Fire Stomp. This is also a 6 speed with a 1 turn cooldown. It's deal 2 damage to all enemies. Repeat for each enemy that hasn't acted yet.
Yeah, so this Punisher is going against just a speed team. So I think Diablo, in a PvP sense, is going to be kind of one of those tech ends where you're like, well, the meta is telling me everybody's going speed. So I'm going to build a team that's going to slow everybody down. Does that make sense?
I would
Or
think.
maybe I'm thinking that backwards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got it
you
backwards
want to
because
slow.
this
Yeah, the
this
Punisher. Yeah,
punishes a slow team because if
that's
one of
right.
their
That's right.
characters has attacked already and then Diablo goes, he's going to hit for 2 and then hit for 2 again for the other
Gotcha.
character that hasn't acted yet this turn.
I'm thinking it backwards.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's 2 damage to all, and then again, this is an AOE attack. So
correct.
maybe you want an AOE build on this. But yeah. So if you do have characters that slow down, like Diablo has slows, but think was it Grommash that has slows? One of the other orcs had a slow ability that added 2 speed. Yes,
Yeah.
Grommash had Staggering Slam, deal 2 damage to an enemy. Its next ability is 2 speed slower.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's that kind of comp with a Grommash and a Diablo and anything else that slows or is just faster, would be better for this team with Diablo.
Okay. And Diablo's level 15 ability is Doom Charge. This is also a 6 speed.
Six
Gee,
six six.
666. Yeah, right across the board. This Doom Charge is attack an enemy. Their next ability is 1 speed slower.
Yeah, again, this is another speed comp type, uh, speed manipulation for your comp. I like this. I think Diablo has the most potential in PvP, uh, out out of what we've seen so far. I don't know how he'll be in the bounties, but he's definitely going to be good for PvP.
Okay. His first piece of equipment is the Black Soul Stone. It's a passive ability. After a character dies, this merc gains +3 health. So, this isn't a death blow. Diablo
No.
doesn't have to be the one to kill the character. Whenever any character dies,
Yes.
Diablo
That's
gets +3 health.
friendly or enemy. So if you have Samuro and he summons the mirror and that mirror dies at the end of turn, he gets +3 health. If your opponent has a Samuro and that your opponent uses that ability, summons a mirror, and that mirror dies, gets +3 health.
Yes. Yes.
So this is that synergy I was talking about with when characters die, and Diablo has that. I think it's going to be, if you think Samuro is in the meta, then maybe you put in Diablo into your team to kind of counter that.
And his other piece of equipment is Magma Horns. The Apocalypse ability deals 1 more damage, so it would deal 3 damage to any enemy it takes critical damage. So
yeah, I think Black Soulstone is the way to go for just about every situation that I can see.
I kind of agree with that. All right, next up we have the Lich King. So he is a protector, 3 attack, 13 health at base. Level 1 ability is Frostbite. So this is a 9 speed. Attack an enemy. The ability they used this turn is permanently 1 speed slower. So
Yeah.
this being a 9 ability or a 9 speed is good because you want them to use their abilities before he attacks so that he can permanently slow that ability for the rest of the match.
Yeah, and furthermore, this is the first speed manipulation that wasn't this turn or next turn. One turn basically. This is basically if they use if they use like a 5 speed attack, it's going to become 6 speed.
Mm-hmm.
And then next turn this doesn't have a 1-turn cooldown, so
That's right.
technically Frostbite can be used every single turn. So they could keep making that slower and slower and slower.
Yes, that is absolutely true. His level 5 ability is Death Coil. So this is a 7-speed with a 1-turn cooldown. Deal 6 damage to an enemy, or restore 10 health to a friendly character.
Yeah, this is very themed to the Death Knight ability in World of Warcraft. I like this a lot.
Yeah. And then his level 15 ability is Frost Shield. So this is a 5-speed. It is his fastest ability, but it also has a 2-turn cooldown. And it says, gain taunt this turn. After an enemy attacks this merc, freeze them until the end of the next turn.
So if this goes off and then your opponent, none of your opponents have attacked yet, and all 3 of their of the enemy mercs attack into the Lich King,
they don't get to do anything next
they don't
turn.
get to do anything. Yeah, they skip next turn.
Yeah.
This is Frost over. This is an ice block. This is, I mean, oh, now the timing is key, but this could be big.
Yeah. Yeah, it could. Okay, let's talk equipment for the Lich King. His first piece is the Helm of Domination. So, this is the Lich King's famous helmet. Passive ability. After an enemy uses an ability with 7 speed or higher, deal 3 damage to them.
So your longer cooldown abilities that do a lot of damage,
Millhouse's arcane missiles, and
they tend to be on casters, and casters don't have a lot of health.
Exactly.
So maybe, I'm wondering what type of damage, or if it doesn't have a damage type, if it can be modified by anything. It doesn't look like it can.
Yeah. No,
and
that's the thing, is this piece of equipment is not directly tied to any of the abilities.
No, it's not.
That he has, which is something we've not really seen on a lot of these mercs. Most of the equipment for the mercs is tied to a specific ability.
Or if it has a passive, it either enacts an ability, right, or it just does something, a generic keyword like taunt or something like that. Yeah.
All right, and Lich King's second piece of equipment is the Void Treads. Death Coil always restores 4 health to this merc.
Yeah, so it can do 6 damage to an enemy and heal itself for 4.
Yeah.
Or it can heal a friendly
for 10. Yeah.
For 10 and heal itself for 4.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. And our final merc from the 3rd bundle, Sylvanas Windrunner. So she is a fighter. 3 attack, 10 health. Her level 1 ability is For the Queen. It is an 8 speed with a 2-turn cooldown. Choose an enemy. An adjacent enemy attacks it.
Yeah, this one's interesting. It's going to be hard to gauge without knowing what the meta's like. But it's basically making one of your enemies attack another one of your enemies. And if they have any status effects that happen with that, freezing or anything like that, it's going to happen. So it'll really be meta dependent, or what bounties you're facing, whether this can be very useful. But I think it's a strong ability.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about her level 5 ability, Reclaimed Souls. So this is the slowest ability we have seen.
Yes.
Of all the characters. It is a 10 speed with a 1-turn cooldown. So you're thinking, man, 10 speed. What is that ability? The ability reads, gain +1 attack for each friendly character that died this game. So if you have her on a team with mercs that do a bunch of summons and those summons die, or Samuro mirrors that die, and then you use this ability, she could get pretty strong.
Also, this tells me she's a bench character.
Mm.
So you put her on a team of 6, but you don't put her in the starting 3. So you put her on the bench, and when you start having, especially in PvP, you start having your mercs die, she comes in, uses this ability. Now, this is not an attack in itself.
Correct.
It just gives her plus attack.
Yes.
But when she gets that plus attack, anything that attacks into her is going to take damage as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
And it also empowers her level 15 ability, which is Banshee Bolt. This is an 8 speed, deal damage equal to your attack.
Yeah, and where this is beneficial is if you attack, then you also take damage from that minion you attack into. But if you use an ability that doesn't use the bold word attack,
just deals damage. Yes.
Just deals damage, then you don't get that retaliatory damage.
That's right. You don't take the damage. Yep.
So basically, she can attack minions without taking damage.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially.
So let's talk about her equipment. First up, she has Morn Blade. It's a passive +2 attack. So right there immediately, she's a 5 attack at base stats.
Which is the biggest base stats we've seen so far.
Yeah. And her second piece of equipment is Soul Jar, which says reclaimed souls gives +1 more attack for every character, for every friendly character that has died this game.
I'm not convinced that's going to be better than Mornblade. But again, proven to be wrong.
Yes, yeah. So, all right. Well, that's going to pretty much cover all of the 8 starting mercenaries plus the 3 bundle mercenaries.
So here's my question for you. Of those 3 bundles, if I was inclined to buy one based on their stats and their abilities and knowing the 8 characters that I get from the start, if I was only going to get one, which one would you get?
Diablo.
Diablo?
Diablo.
I can see merit for Lich King. Sylvanas probably needs too many other characters that you have to unlock to be really good.
Right out of the gate, yeah.
Lich King is, I want to say Diablo, but ultimately I think standalone with the other 8 characters, I think Lich King is, to me, just a hair better because he can freeze.
Okay. So
that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I definitely don't discount the thought of Diablo because Diablo's abilities are scary looking.
Right.
And I think he's going to be a powerhouse by himself, but when you factor in the other 8 characters, I think there's enough synergies that Lich King gets bumped up a little bit.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. That's our if you guys are still listening to this, Mercenaries drops tomorrow, and
yes,
I'm super excited. Now, I haven't seen anything official, but I'm going to assume it's going to happen at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, as most Hearthstone expansions are wont to do.
Yes, and it was confirmed on Reddit, unfortunately, and this kind of got a little bit of outrage, that the mobile rollout will probably be about 6 hours behind the PC client rollout. So if you play primarily on mobile, you might not get it right at that 10 a.m. or whenever the patch hits.
Right. You may
So
not get it till
that's
like, yeah.
unfortunate, but with something this large and how Apple stores and Amazon stores work, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. We definitely want to know your thoughts after you've had hands on with Mercenaries. Let us know. Send us a message on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. Send us an email at HeroPowerPodcast@gmail.com, or head on over to HeroPowerHS.com and click that contact us link, fill in the blanks, and let us know your thoughts about Mercenaries. We're really excited to hear from you guys after you're hands on. We've talked to some of our patrons, and some of them are really excited for this. Others are a little more hesitant about it, and we're really excited to know what you, yes, you, the one listening to this right now, no, not that guy in the car over there, you think about this. So, all right. Zerosho, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just excited for next week when we can actually have some content to show you from Mercenaries. We'll likely be playing some bounties and showing some footage. Also, check out youtube.com/ECMMO Gamers. We are going to try to create some videos of play portions and just our experience. I'm probably just going to fire up OBS, play a bunch of Hearthstone Mercenaries, then send the file to Avantes and let him figure out how to edit it and put it out.
Joy. This is why I took vacation this week.
That's right.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for us this week. Let us know your thoughts. We'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to level up your equipment.